Hey everybody, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and we've got a very cool unbox and review for you today. We are going to be having a look at the Thorsson Stoutmead model from Forge World. So this is one of the new Norse star players. This is the Donkey Kong of Norse. This dude is a lineman, but he throws barrels at people. So we are going to open up and build the Forge World model. So the model itself comes in 9 pieces. Now when it comes to the Forge World boxes, as Ben pointed out on one of our other videos, they are sharp plastic. This is like opening a packet of scissors or a razor blade, so be prepared with an X-Acto blade or something to cut open the packet, but do watch your fingers. As you can see, I caught mine because that's what happens. So we're looking at 9 pieces here, and yes, his head does come in several pieces, which is very Games Workshop at the moment. So we've got a strength 3 guy with 9 pieces. So what we're going to do now is we'll have a look at some of the quality of the casting, because even though he comes in 1 million pieces. Okay, so this is a Forge World model, so therefore it is fancy resin. Now when it comes to the fancy resin, it is always worth giving it a clean. So what I do is get a bowl of lukewarm water with a little bit of washing up liquid. In fact, I put the dash of washing up liquid in the bottom of the bowl, pour the not hot but lukewarm water into it, and just let the model sit there for half an hour. I'll go off, do some work, have a cup of tea, whatever, then come back with my large dry brush and just clean the models off and then leave them to dry. So these are pre-cleaned. Now why would you do that? When it comes to resin models, there is definitely an element of mold release. So what they'll do is before they cast the models, they'll put in just like a little bit of a spray to stop the model from sticking to the mold. So let's see if we can get a bit of a good focused shot at some of the detail. So you can see some of the detail on the model there, all the filigree on the armor. You've got a load of detail there on the beard. So they've done a really good job with the casts. I'm not surprised. Forge World quality has improved massively over the last few years. Games Workshop's foray into resin has reached a point where actually the core model itself sculpted really well. Really well. Cast really well. All the detail is there. But they come on absolute jersey barriers, and you can see there's quite a lot of flash. So these models will take a pretty sizable piece of cleanup. So that's the body. We've got the leg here, and again you can see detail, a ton of spare resin, and that is a pretty big piece there that when we break it off is going to cause a little bit of work to kind of, yeah, that's going to cause a bit of work to tidy that up. So these are some of the smaller pieces of this model kit, including half of his head. So we've got to basically glue his helmet and face, and let's face it, it's a pretty cool moustache, but we're going to have to place all of that on the model when we build it. Now when it comes to Forge World models, they can be finicky, and it is always best to cut your pieces off, to dry fit them, to make sure that you take off mold lines and make sure that areas are smooth and flat before you build them. But this is the Bonehead podcast, so I'm going to build this really quickly and speed it up for you. Okay, so Thorsson Stoutmead is all built, and so first things first, he comes with a 32mm Blood Bowl base. I've lost it, but it comes with a 32mm Blood Bowl base. The model itself, I guess I started the video by saying that Forge World models, they take a bit of, you're supposed to dry fit and do tests and stuff like that. I prepped the model and still didn't prep enough, so you can see there's a few bits. His face doesn't quite line up enough. There's a few gaps around and about the model. Now, if I had spent appropriate amount of time prepping it, then it probably would have been fine. I didn't, but you know what? Once it's primed, once it's painted, once I've agraxed the heck out of it, then it'll be fine. Now, I'm using Artisan Guilds bases for my entire Norse team because I want to go for like a nice theme. So I've had a couple of extra spare here, so I've put Thorsson on there to match the team. Now, the model itself is really cool. I mean, you can see all the detail on the model. You can see he's put in a really fun pose. Questionable gravity on that barrel, but hey, his role is to throw barrels at other dudes. So, I mean, if he's going to be good at it, he's going to be good at it. Now, it's a pretty cool model. I like the posing. It ties in brilliantly with the other Norse team. And I'll tell you what, let's compare it to some of the players on the Norse team. So I am working my way through priming and basing my dudes. And we've got one Norse player here. So if we do the overhead test, let's roll him over to check out the size. Thorsson's got a little bit of height on him, which is actually really good. When we first saw him, we had concerns about his proportions. His proportions are still a bit weird. He's still got a big leg and a big foot, and it is a little bit weird. He's got that giant kind of aesthetic about him, but size-wise, compared to another Strength 3 model, he's about in line. Now, this dude is just Strength 3. He is just a Norse lineman, basically with the ability to throw barrels around. If you want to know more about how he plays on the pitch, watch our Star Player Spotlight. But against a Strength 3 nobility thrower, again, mass-wise, he's a little bit bigger, but he's throwing barrels around, so it actually makes an awful lot of sense. Okay, so there you have it. Thorsson Stoutmead from Forge World. A couple of things to wrap up, I guess. He's £21 from Forge World with postage. That's going to set you back £25, and it's going to take about a week. It's a cool model. Now, when it comes to alternatives, you know, there's a couple kicking out there. If you've got Bugman already, he's good to go. If you've got a Norse team, you can probably convert a Thorsson Stoutmead. It's a cool model. I don't know if it's £21 worth of cool, and it will take some dry fitting, and it's resin, so you're going to have to use super glue, and you're going to have to use a bit of a clean first. As for how good he is at the pitch, I'm not sure just yet. I'll be playing a game with this dude in just a few hours with a tournament build, so I will let you know on the podcast this weekend how good he is actually on the pitch. But for now, the model's pretty good. If you really need him, go get him. And actually, I think he's going to be quite a lot of fun to paint, and that is a massive part of the hobby. It's a massive part of the hobby that I think I forget about sometimes. I'm like, efficient models, let's paint them quick. Actually, there's a lot of people out there that are going to really enjoy painting this dude up, and that is probably worth the £21 because it is a lovely sculpt. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.